Hello everyone, this is Douglas with Other Than Intended Purpose. Jack's behind the camera. And I have a really fun video planned for today because a viewer sent me a couple of things that I wanted to bring on camera. Where did I put that paper? There it is. I'm not showing his real name because he sent this with his YouTube name on the letter and then put his real name in a separate piece of paper. But this is from the Coat Pocket Survivalist, and he sent me an amazing package. And it had two things in it. One of them is the knife that we're going to play with here in a little bit. But the other one, I have mentioned a couple of times I was in the FFA when I was younger. And this is a Boker 3-blade Stockman. And Jack, can you take that up and show that that actually has the
Move
FFA?
it down and over just a little bit.
There we go.
Up just a touch.
No, you take it and put it in front of the camera. That has the FFA shield on it. And I have looked into it a little bit, and from what I have been able to find, this model of
There we go.
Boker FFA knife was released in the 50s and 60s.
Trying to get it to focus on
They
this.
have made other FFA knives since then, but this is a treasure. This isn't just a knife, this is a treasure. And
Sorry
thank
for
you.
not getting a very good shot. It wasn't wanting to focus on the
thank you
knife.
very much for this. I am going to clean up the blades a little bit, but in all honesty, it's in really good condition. The pivots are, the action on it is really smooth. And this is just a beautiful piece of history. So thank you very much for that. The other thing that was in that package was something that I was not very familiar with before today, or before I got this. Now, I have had a Marttiini, not the kind you drink. I don't drink alcohol, but it's Marttiini. It's a knife company from Italy. I had a Marttiini version of the Mora Companion, and I've known about the company for quite a while, but this is a folder. Now, I'm not going to flick this open right now because it does hurt my nerve damage a little bit, and I will do that at the end, but right now it is a little bit gritty. But this is a liner lock folder that has a positive half stop. That actually clicks into place. I don't think you'll be able to hear it, but it's... Now, the lockup is really good on it. It's about a 40% lockup. The locking bar is tall enough. You don't need any fingernail to get in there. But when you start to close it, it has a positive stop. Once you get past that, then it closes. Now, this is just slightly out of center, but this thing is heavy. I don't normally do this. I know some people do. I don't normally do this. I have a scale from back when I used to do mail, and I was using expensive materials and would go by their weights. Where the hell is my scale? There it is. I haven't used it in a while. This, when your desk is 25 years older than you are and you're old, drawers aren't that smooth. This, come on. Wow. We're up in fixed blade territory. That is 7.1 ounces. For comparison, this is a new even grow that was sent to me for my birthday, and this is a chonker. This is a lot heavier than a lot of the knives that I've had before, and this is only 6.3 ounces. And it's a chunker. I mean, it's a big piece of metal. It's a D2 steel blade, which and really nice. That's a whole different video. So I am going to take, because this is, I can feel the grit in this, and I can feel that the action should be better. I am going to take this apart. And, well, let's just get into that. Before we go any further, though, I forgot this the last couple of videos, so I'm going to put it in the middle instead of the end. Friend of mine online, Zach from Zach Stuff, he does not get anything from this. There's no monetary issues. It's just an idea that he's been trying to get circulated in the community. It's DSKFS. Is that end screen? Down.
Right there. That's a good shot of it.
Do something kind for someone. It doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be expensive. It can be as simple as, wow, that looks really nice on you, talking about whatever they're wearing. Or, you have a very nice smile. Or, here, let me help you carry those bags. Do something kind for someone. Try to do it every day. If everyone does that and starts spreading kindness around, it will make the world a little less sucky.
Depending on your personality, you might need to do something kind for yourself occasionally.
That too. But just keep in mind that there are some people out trying to do nice things for people. Be one of them, and then that's cool. Okay, now I already looked at this a little bit. That is, again, with this being a super chunk, most of the pivots I've taken apart are T8s. I've even seen a couple of T6s on smaller knives. This is a T10. Most of the body screws are T6s. The body screws on this are T9. So that's that. So we're going to start off just taking this sucker apart. Now, as I have said before, I like using a pinning mat so that I can have the screws in somewhat of an order, but also not be lost. And if something happens to the mat while I'm doing this, it doesn't happen to my table underneath. Okay. Now this is a rubber scale, but with a piece of steel in the middle of it, and it's got a couple of bumpers that fit into the frame to hold it aligned. I kind of like that. Wow. Haven't seen this before. Can you... Here, I think I can reach it. I need a P1. I was saying that body screws are generally T6s. The actual body screws on this, down. I'm really bad at aiming at the camera.
Basically, think center beard, and that's where I can zoom into.
Okay. These are Phillips ones. Good thing I keep a set of cheapo but functional screwdrivers handy. Because... drop that one. That is a lot of Loctite on there. That is a lot of Loctite for that little bitty sucker. Okay. Go straight to the 10. I don't want to screw up that. Back to my screwdriver set. T10.
Goddamn.
Can you hand me my heat gun? Okay, apparently the guys at Marttiini wanted to make sure that their
Screws stayed in
screws
place?
didn't fall out in transit. Dope-a-dope-a-do. A little bit of electricity. I'm actually kind of glad this happened. If you're ever taking a knife apart and they use Loctite on the pivot screw, and you can't, or actually on any of the screws, and you can't get it out, this is the way you soften Loctite enough to do this. Now, this has 2 speeds. I'm going to try it on low first. I'm going to heat the back first, then I'm going to flip it and heat the front.
Yay for your pinning mat being a silicon mat.
Yeah. Now when you're heating this up, you kind of want to be sniffing, because you'll get kind of a chemical smell when the Loctite starts to heat up enough to soften.
And if you're standing behind the camera with it pointing slightly towards you, you'll get a heated metal smell.
Gee, and the metal gets warm. Go figure, I'm pointing a heat gun at it and it's getting hot. What'll I think of next? Okay, that smells about right. There we go. All the difference in the world.
Mind turning your fan on? That's a bit of a pungent aroma. Got the remote on your desk, don't you?
Yeah, but it wouldn't do any good unless I uncover it.
Fair.
That's exhausting. Dad jokes. Okay. We're just going to leave that attached for a second. We're going back to my bottle of alcohol fuel. You know, I've used more of this for knife cleaning than I have for my alcohol stove ever since I got the
The little butane campstone?
no, the gasifier.
That one too.
Because I like the gasifier better.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is 99% isopropyl.
Gasifier, you don't have to have as much fuel. You can
True.
just gather it.
I use 99% isopropyl for my stove. The cheap stuff you can get at the dollar store will work for cleaning knives. but the 99% burns a lot better. That's something like 80 something percent or
70.
70%. That's fine for cleaning.
Usually between 70 and 80. At least around here.
But when it comes to cooking on, you get a much better burn with the higher percentages. That's why I have the higher percentage. Okay, we are looking at a plastic washer.
To anyone looking for a lot of 99%-ish isopropyl, go to like hydroponics stores. They sell it by the gallon. That would be good for like an ultrasonic cleaning bath.
Okay, this is actually cleaner than it looked, or than it felt, but I still want to clean it off. Okay, Jack, very, very carefully take this up there.
Still toasty.
Yeah, it is. If you show the where the detents are, the two divots down by the pivot hole. See that second smaller detent hole? That is the positive half stop right there. So if you're ever wondering what a positive half stop looks like, it uses the same ball as the detent. Yeah, that is kind of warm. It uses the same ball as the detent for holding it in, holding it closed, and that's the stop right there. Okay, so there's our pieces. You smell bad. Ignore that. It's been a long year today. Now this is Marttiini since $1928. When you're half blind, keep a magnifying glass close by.
When you're completely blind, it doesn't help.
This is true. Let's hope that I'm not... Don't fall. Good job. Let's hope I'm not going there for a couple of weeks at least.
Yeah.
Okay, this is interesting. There's a lot of things in this knife that are just way different than normal and very interesting. This is a round pivot pin. And there's two basic kinds of pivot pins. There's the round and the D-shaped. And the D-shaped keeps things from rotating because it's D-shaped. This is a round pivot pin with a milled in 1/4 inch of D-shape at the top. This scale, or this piece of frame, the scales are completely not involved in this. The frame extends well past and becomes like a bolster. This frame is round. This frame has the D shape built into it. And the liner has the D shape built into it. Or no, this is the liner and this is the frame. I'm sorry. Gee, it's a liner lock. I bet the one without the lock is the liner. No. This frame and the liner both have the D shape cutting into them. And the back scale does not. It's round. Or back liner. Yes. Words.
That kind of tells me that they used more Loctite than they needed to with the engineering side of it as well.
That would be it. Okay. And there's two different sizes of washers, so I'm going to put them back in the same places that I got them from. They are both full round, but they are two different sizes, drastically different sizes of washer. So the smaller one was on the bottom. Then we're going to, where's my lube? Why did I put things just out of reach? Oh. Dee-dee.
Well, when you're sitting at your desk, that's just within reach.
Yes, it is, but this isn't at my desk. This is in the vicinity of my desk. There we go.
I don't think you're planning for within the vicinity of.
I'm going to put the one of these that I used last week I can't find. That has nothing to do with the video. That was actually to Jack. Sorry guys. I like these because they make it so you can put just a little bit on there without making a mess. That last bit's hard for me normally. Okay, we're going to set that over the pivot.
If you don't know what oils, greases, or lubes are made of, be careful because silicone can melt with some silicone-based lubes.
Now I am going to put 2 tiny drops of the lube one in each of these detents. And I don't want to use that. I want to use a toothpick. I had a toothpick up here earlier for doing something else. Don't know what happened to it. Grab a clean toothpick.
Make sure your materials are non-reactive with each other.
So I'm going to take this toothpick and I'm going to drag just a tiny bit of that oil or lube. It's not really oil, it's a little thicker than most oils. And there is a nice little circle here where the detent ball drags on the blade. And that's what I just put the lube on there. Because that will allow it to move better. And then I'm putting just a little bit down where it's going to be covered by this washer. And I am going to, now this little barrel with 2 pins on it is the stop pin. And like I said, right here in this blade, there's a little bit of a divot. They don't really have a sharpening ricoso, but there's a little bit of a divot for that stop pin to hit. And when you open, it will hit against the back of the blade here, and it'll keep it from over opening or closing far enough. Where that hits, it keeps it from hitting these screw barrels. Now, we need to put this, and this is where that D shape come in. So I had to wiggle that a little bit to get that D shape to fall in there, and then this fell in nice. And then this one sits on top of that. And you want to make sure that everything is seated really well. And I'm going to put the pivot back in since it's not involving the scales at all. I'm going to go ahead and put the pivot back in right now. I'm just not going to put it all the way in yet.
And now you got an iron sandwich.
Yes.
Don't take a bite out of that or it might bite back.
Okay, so now I need that Phillips. Where did I put the Phillips? There's the Phillips. Other people that take knives apart, if you see this, make a comment. Have you ever seen P1s as body screws before on a modern folder. Now I've seen P2s and even P3s on fixed blades. And that's just holding the scales in. But I have never seen a P1 body screw on a modern folder before. That is a lot of damn Loctite on there. I wonder how come that one came out so easy when it's got more on it than the pivot did. Maybe it had been broken loose already by somebody. Maybe somebody started to take it apart and said, I can't get that pivot out, screw this noise. Okay. These I can put down to a reasonable tightness because they just go into those barrels. They have nothing to do with the knife. Well, with the blade. Okay. Now I'm going to put this pivot back in a little bit better. I'm going to put just a little bit of snug on that. I want it to be able to come out. It's still just a hair off center, but it's right about exactly where, actually it's a little better than it was originally. Before I put that on, I'm going to make sure that I put it back together right. Whoa, that came out a lot smooth. Wow, that is so much smoother. Did you open this before?
Yeah.
Feel the difference in that.
Try no
try
pressure.
To thumb flick it. No, not wrist flick it. Thumb flick it. Is it not locking?
Yeah.
Did I put the lock back? No,
No, you put the washers in upside down.
Hmm?
Washers upside down.
What do you mean washers upside down?
Flip them. You put them on the wrong sides of the thing.
The big one went on the other one?
Yeah. The big one got in the way of the locking.
That's why there's two sizes of washers. And that's also, you know, I thought I laid them down in the order I took them out in. Obviously, I was mistaken. I never said I was perfect. Other people do all the time, but I've never said I was perfect. I feel safe saying that because I'm in a house that has a lightning rod on top.
So how'd the Loctite handle the second time?
Actually, the second time around, that came out smooth. It was no big deal. Okay, so the big one goes on the bottom. Then we have some knife-shaped thing.
The small one.
I know. I'm just lining this up. Okay, we're going to have to rotate this. I'm going to do a little trick here. There we go. Rotate that so that it's squared up. Spacer's in place. Stop pin is in place.
Adequate pressure is applied.
Now, when you're doing this, it actually takes a bit of thumb on this because the lock bar's got some pretty good spring to it. You'll find that with most of these liner locks and frame locks both, there will be a fair amount of spring in that because it needs to snap over and get engaged quickly so that there's no bounce back. So it does take a fair amount of thumb to hold that in place. I knew that went together too smooth.
Yeah.
The day that things cooperate on camera is the day that you have made a mistake and you're going to have to take it apart and fix it.
Yeah.
And for those that are laughing at me right now, that's okay. I don't mind. But the truth of the matter is, it's really a lot harder to do this on camera than it is off camera. Substantially harder. Now we got lock up. Try it again. Or do you want me to put the scale back on first?
Doesn't matter.
I do want to put this away though.
That just kind of snapped out to its stop point. That's what I remembered what I was wanting to say. Whatever the brand is, name?
Of
This.
that?
Yeah.
Marttiini.
To Marttiini. I think that a little bit of some sort of texturing on the thumb stud would be good, because the first time I tried to open it, it bumped up, my thumb slipped, and I almost sliced my thumb open on the blade right here.
That is a serious first for me, that I ever had to pull out a P1 to put, or to take scales off. I mean, to take the frame apart.
I think I almost just sliced my thumb open again.
Well, almost is better than did.
Yeah. But a little bit of texturing on the thumb stud would probably help with that.
You know what I like on the thumb stud? Well, I prefer flippers. But basically concentric circles similar to jimping.
Yeah.
Jimping is just lines, but concentric circles that are like spaced and have the contactness. That's not a word. I'm making stuff up now.
Hey, if they understand, it's good enough to be a word.
Of jimping.
Story of my life.
I mean, actually, there is a little bit on the side here, but it's not on the entire barrel. There's a little bit right there, which actually does help you catch it. Okay.
Thumb still in socket?
Oh, no, it's not my thumb. It's the nerves right here.
Okay.
Okay, that hurt a little bit, but that is epically smoother than it was before. It is amazing.
What about pinching the blade and drop?
Well, you can't drop shut this one.
No, I meant drop open.
Oh.
That's not enough blade. What about pinching the thumb studs? Yeah.
We're going to call that a no.
Nice joke.
Yes. Actually, there's one other thing that I want to do, and I don't know if the way I'm set up right now is going to work. We're going to lower the table. That's as far as that'll go. I'm going to move this up here. There we go. This came fairly sharp, but there is just a hair of like a burr on it. And I need more green goo. Where did I put my little tool case?
Which one?
The one I keep all of my knife cleaning stuff in, or knife working on stuff in. A few months ago, a friend of mine who claimed to do it all the time, just something happened to his strop and he didn't have one, asked to borrow my strop. And anybody that knows me knows if I have stuff, I will generally let people use it. And
the first couple times.
the only thing I can figure by the way that it came back to me in multiple pieces is when you are stropping, you pull. Now I'm going to use the back of it to show you what he must have done. He must have tried to strop this way because I got my strop back in a couple of pieces. He did, however, pay for another one. But I'm in that uncomfortable break-in period where I'm having to put a crap ton of compound on it, and then I have to clean the knife afterwards because it's got compound on it, because you need to get the compound worked into the leather. Now, this has just a tad bit of a burr. If you want to save sharpening and save the wear and tear on your blade, because no matter how good you are at it, no matter how careful you are, every time you touch your knife to a steel or a stone, you are losing metal. Stropping between sharpenings will save you a lot. Now, if you look, you've got the flat of the blade, you've got the primary grind, and there's a secondary grind which is smaller. And what you're wanting to do is you want to lay that equal to the secondary grind. Always go away from the edge. You want to come backwards off of the edge.
Don't cut your leather, basically.
And you're going to pull that, and you can go a couple on a side. And the more you do it, the faster you will be at it, and the more comfortable you will be at it. And what you are doing is just dressing that edge. And when you're trying to break in a new strop, you then have to come back and take the extra bits of compound off of it. Once you get one worn in or worked in good, you hardly ever have to put compound on it again. But now, oh, that is nice. That has got a really nice edge on it. So again, I am terrible with human beings. Coat Pocket Survivalist, thank you so much for sending me these. And remember, no matter how good your equipment is, it doesn't do you any good if you don't know how to use it. Take everything you have that you plan to rely on and use it. And get out into the woods, have some fun. It's summertime, which means being under the trees is nice because it's cooler under the trees. Have a good night.